Hi guys, today we are going to talk about how to find the area of a triangle. So we've talked about triangles a lot before during the year. Some of the common types of triangles that we've talked about before are right triangles. We've talked about acute triangles, and we've also talked about obtuse triangles. An obtuse triangle is not drawn here, but we will draw that in a minute. So there are two key parts of a triangle that we need to know in order to figure out the area. We need to find out where the base and the height are in the triangle. Now, just like in a parallelogram, we need to know our base and our height. And remember, the base and the height need to be perpendicular. So make sure you trace over the base and make sure you trace over the height and label it. When we measure height, remember we measure height straight up and down. We never measure height on a diagonal. And when we measure the height and the base, they are perpendicular and they make that right angle. So let's talk about the formula and then we'll talk about the other types of triangles we might see. So the formula for area of a triangle is area equals base times height, and now we need to add something extra in. We need to divide by 2. So when we write down the formula for area, a shorter way of saying it is B times H for base times height, divide by 2. So I'm going to bubble that. Now, I want to show you. You must remember to divide by 2. That's the part where people, when they start to do a lot of problems, they start to just do base times height, and they forget to do that divide by 2 part. All right? Now, if we take a look at an acute triangle, this would be our base, because we're looking at the entire triangle. So here's what I'm going to do for you. Before we even start labeling this, I want to know the area of this entire triangle. If you look at it, you might say, oh, well, there's a triangle here and there's a triangle here, as well as the bigger triangle. What I want to focus in on is the large yellow triangle that I've highlighted. So if we're looking at the large yellow triangle, the bottom part here would be our base, and our height would be the line that is going straight up and down perpendicular to the base, which is right here. That is our height. I'm just going to put an H by it for height. All right, and we would still use the same formula. So let's draw an obtuse triangle real quick. All right, remember an obtuse triangle, it's larger than 90 degrees, so our angle right here is bigger than 90. So sometimes you'll see that this would be the base. Now, I don't see any lines going straight up and down. So sometimes in an obtuse triangle, you would be able to draw the height straight up and down coming from the outside point right here. This would be your height. And that's because if I connected it, I would make a 90-degree angle with the bottom here with the base. Okay, but the two types that we're going to see most often is a right triangle and an acute triangle. Okay, so let's practice. So remember, the formula is area equals base times height divided by 2. So if we look at our triangle here for number 1, 5 is our base. The part that is straight up and down is our height, which is 9 inches. So formula says, let's do area equals base times height divided by 2. Now I like to do this in steps here. So the base is 5. The height is 9, and then we divide by 2. So area equals, so let's take a look. 5 times 9 is 45. So it's 45 divided by 2. So let's do that. 45 divided by 2. And we get 22.5. It doesn't matter that we got a decimal, 22.5, because 45 is an odd number. And if we split an odd number in half, we're going to get a 0.5. Now remember, we're talking about area. And when we do area, we have to square our units. So 22.5 inches squared is the area of this entire triangle. Now let's take a look at number 2. So number 2 is one of those tricky ones where they give you 3 dimensions and you have to figure out which 2 that you need. So this is a right triangle, very similar to our example right up here. So for number 2, 8 will be our base. And our height, remember, is the line going straight up and down, making a 90-degree angle with the base. Looks like 6 is our height. 10, remember, it would be called the hypotenuse because it's across from the right angle. 10 does not tell us the height. It is slanted. So area equals base times height divided by 2. Area equals base is 8, height is 6 divided by 2. So area equals 8 times 6 is 48 divided by 2. So when we do this in our calculator, 48 divided by 2 is 24. Our units are meters, so it's meters squared. Okay, last one. No picture. A triangle has a base of 12 feet and a height of 6 feet. Draw a picture. Now, it's up to you what kind of triangle you want to draw. I'm going to draw a right triangle. The base is 12, so I'm going to make that a little bit longer because it's bigger than 6, so that's 12. This will be 6, and then I connect it to make a triangle. So 12 feet, 6 feet, and that's all we need to know, our base and our height. So this is our base. This is our height. I know I could put a right angle in my picture because the base and height are perpendicular. Draw a picture, label it, that we did, and find the area. Area equals base times height divided by 2. So area equals 12 times 6 divided by 2. Area equals, let's do that on the calculator, 12 times 6 is 72. And we still have to divide by 2. Area equals 72 divided by 2 is 36. And our units were feet squared. Now, some of you might say, oh, I don't need to draw a picture here. I can just plug this into my calculator. Well, that's fine, but the directions say to draw a picture and label it. So if on a graded worksheet or a quiz or a test, if it asks you to draw a picture, label it, and then find the area, you need to do all 3 parts so that you get credit for the entire problem. Okay? So remember, base times height, and then don't forget to divide by 2 when you're finding the area of a triangle.